Hey man, Missiology II, Lecture 14, Furloughs. Now, disclaimer. I have never been, well, I've been on the foreign field, but not as a missionary. I've lived, though, in Italy, Naples, Italy. Not horrible, but for 4 years. So I kind of know what it's like to be on the foreign field. I served the Lord there in a church. I was in the Navy. I lived amongst the Italians, so I kind of know with that. And that's not horrible living. But it's not easy either. I mean, there's culture shock, there's smells.
They smell, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's all this stuff. You got to deal with it. So I understand what it's like, but I didn't go back until the 4 years. Well, yeah, I didn't go back until the 4 years were up. So I was there for 4 straight years. So I know that. I'm saying here is my wisdom and thinking on it. I haven't been in your shoes, so if you've been overseas and as an American missionary overseas in a rough place, and you're saying, you just don't understand how it is, man. You're right, I don't. So take that into consideration. Here's some the people that I've quoted here. There's their names. This guy to the right is David Hasselflug from Albania. Been a Baptist missionary there. Okay. Definition. The dictionary defines furlough as a leave of absence from duty, granted especially to a soldier. The military person gets a month's leave for every year of service. When I was in the military, oh yeah, you get that. I wasn't even a soldier. Remember the military?
Long.
Isn't 30 days paid? Once you get out of boot camp and all that?
And if you go past 90 days, they start taking 30 days away.
Okay, well, you got to use it or lose it.
Yeah, you have to use them.
Keep piling it up for. Some try to do that as they retire. They've got like 2.5 years of leave, and sick days, and all this stuff. Yeah, so you can't do that. So, but that's interesting. A month's leave for every year. Mm-hmm. So if it was 4 years, let's just say you could add it up. 4 years would be 4 months. Yeah, 4 months. So okay, think about that. That's a soldier fighting in battle, maybe. Some have compared a furlough to a paid vacation and absence from duty. My statement, is it wrong for them to have a paid vacation?
No.
No, I don't think so. Other types of workers get one, but a year's paid vacation might be a bit excessive, because I haven't figured this out yet, how long the average furlough is. I didn't research that, but it's common to go 4 years and get about a year. That's common. We've had some of our guys take that, a full year back in the States. So what do you think about that? Some see missionary furloughs as glorified vacations away from one's duties and responsibilities, Greg Wagner said. Missionary to Tanzania. This is a missionary to Tanzania, so I actually like what he says most of the time. But this isn't necessarily his view. You'll see later what his view is. But some see it as that.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I was thinking that that's not what it is to actually.
Yeah, furloughs, it could be, I guess, but
yeah.
it's not really that way for him. Everyone is entitled to a bit of R&R, but one shouldn't forget the responsibilities in the matter. Does an American church planter who planted a church in the States get a furlough?
Yeah, if he's going to go to a new church somewhere.
No, but he's not. He planted the church. Yeah, that's different. I understand. We'll talk about that later. But he planted the church. He just needs a break from it. Go back to Iowa, where he's from, and visit the fam, and just kind of relax them for a year. It's going to be what, for a year?
No.
Maybe for 2 weeks, buddy.
Well, I know that, like the Free Methodists, some pastors would be a pastor for 10 years without any furlough or what you might call it, sabbatical.
Yeah.
And then they would take maybe a month to 2 months off, but they would take a year off.
Right.
Even then.
Yeah, there's some that just don't take anything and they need something. If you know anyone who suggests that furlough is a glorified vacation, Greg says, for undeserving candidates, remind them that a furlough must be earned.
Yeah.
And if you would like to try one of these glorified vacations, you must first punch the foreign field clock.
Yeah.
I'm quite confident that a full term of cross-cultural experience may change his outlook on a missionary's home assignment. That's the furlough, home assignment they call it.
Yeah.
They go do 4 years in Zambia or Congo or
South America.
Wherever. Just pick a spot.
Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon basin. I suspect that the term home assignment is currently in vogue because missionaries and their organizations want to emphasize that missionaries who are temporarily back in their home countries are still working and doing ministry, which they do. Yeah. See, I would say it should be a time to rest. But some say it's, we had our 2 weeks rest with mom and dad and everybody, and then it was hitting the road again. Like, well, that's not good. Then they go back to the country all tired.
Yeah.
they're not on a vacation. Instead of a ministry assignment on the field, they've been assigned to do ministry in their home country for a while. I wrote, a home assignment sounds as though it is referring to someone's assigning them to do this. Who's assigning them this? Well, usually it's the mission board.
Yeah.
They're the fancy, dancy ones that can come up with all these terms and things. Because it's their home church.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have all this probably set up this way. It's like, come on back and visit Mom and Dad a while. Need to go around and raise some support for a month? Go ahead. Isn't the unevangelized field that they were called to the assignment until it is completed? And that's a different story. It would be very reasonable to me that they were going on a home assignment, aka furlough, after finishing their foreign field assignment. Meaning you planted a church, trained a national, turned it over to them.
Right.
Go take a break. And whether people are going to support you full or not, well, at least you completed that. A little break in between. Maybe it took you 5, 6, 7 years to do it. Maybe 2.
I don't know of one country in the world, no matter how poor, that doesn't have a section somewhere where you can be almost Americanized and go to where you can vacation at home. Okay.
But yeah, you're
just
right.
For a couple of weeks.
Every country, yeah, I think every country
even
has the resort areas you can go to and just feel like it's okay. It's very nice. It may cost some money, I don't know. You can't live there forever, but you get a week or 2. Oh yeah. Internationally, yeah, this is your same country. You just take a bus or whatever. Take a taxi. All right, so next one. A furlough, home assignment. Let's just say furlough. It's easier. A furlough is what it is called when a missionary leaves his field of calling and goes back to America to spend an extended period of time for resting from the rigors of living in a foreign land. There's that part of it. There's visiting family and friends, sure. There's reporting to supporting churches. And then there's the marketing of the ministry to new church, trying to build up more support. So those 4 things are what I see, and generally you can have medical checkups and other things can be done, but those are the big ones. Furlough is not supported in Scripture, though it is not blatantly anti-scriptural either. I just don't think it's wise how it's done today. Every man that serves the Lord, I think, should have a break now and then, but I don't know about for 5 months, 2 months. Jesus went away with the disciples just for a day or 2, maybe not even a day. They just got away from it, so it's okay to do that. But if I take a vacation, 1 week is good. I would rather have a lot of 1 week vacations than a whole month vacation at once.
Yeah.
Because you just get kind of out of the whole routine.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't Paul and all the other people helping him, it seemed like when he was moving and going to different places, it was because he was done with his ministry and he was kind of moving. But it wasn't because of vacation, but he probably did.
Right.
He was ministered to when he got to the church, and I'm sure they...
Yeah. I'm sure there was rest time. He wasn't taking 2 weeks to go to the Isle of Capri in the Mediterranean Sea and just kind of hanging out with the rich guy there. It doesn't say about Paul doing that at all. Well, let's look at these points here real quick, or not so quick. So about resting. Like you said, you can rest in a nicer area, like a vacation area of the country that you're working in. My brother was in Japan. There's several, I forget the name of the islands outside of Japan. There's one that's a real classic that you go to. It's a resort area.
Yeah,
so most countries, I don't know if Kuwait has a resort area, but
oh yeah, they all do.
They probably all do. Because the rich people there go somewhere.
They'll have nice hotels, nice restaurants.
So
even in Africa, in poor countries, usually the capital has...
Capital, right.
Yeah.
Or at least stay, in a general vicinity where it's not going to cost you too much to get to some place that you can just relax at, get away from it all, feel safe, cleaner, have some stores, nice restaurants, those things that you think you need. You just want, I would say. 2, so this visiting your loved ones. Well, Skype. We're in a modern era now. We're in the 2000s, my friends, the 21st century. Skype. And most of these missionaries, that's what they do. They Skype, but they want to be there with them and hug them. I understand all that, but how much money does it cost to do one of these trips for a family of 4 or 6? It's like 10 grand.
Depends on where you're coming from. It's expensive.
But if it's overseas, it's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8. Usually I see it as $1,000 to $1,500. One person, round trip ticket. You got the one, round trip covers.
Well, Africa is even more like 3,000, I think, isn't it? Per person?
I don't know. It matters where you're going to. Also,
Yeah.
if you're in the middle of nowhere, you got the first you land in Moscow, and then you've got a 18-hour trip somehow to get to where you live at. 3, supporting churches. Well, the supporting churches shouldn't need in-person visits. I don't need that from any of the missionaries that we support. I want the missionaries that I support to be on the field. Oh, if you're in the area, stop by in, sure. But stay on the field, my friend. I trust you. 4, if support is low, well, then what do? Well, encourage those that are part of the new work to take the responsibility to help resolve the issue, people you're ministering to. That's number 1. 2, send out letters explaining the need. A lot of times we'll maybe not be able to take you on for support or take you on for more support. We can give you a one-time love offering for the need. Do some tent making, like Paul did. And maybe just gets down to trusting God. Well, I'm here. I'm going to do the Lord's work. I'll send out the letters, make phone calls. I'm not taking a $10,000 trip. Well, maybe it's just him. I'm not going to take a $1,500 trip and all that money that's spent on me to feed me and to lodge me and the fuel costs and everything and come back. I guarantee you, you spend more on all that than you're going to get in support. That's what I said. Maybe that's not true. Why not take on Paul's viewpoint on missions here? Someone read that?
Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. I know both how to be abase, and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me.
Amen. So that's Paul's way. I guess we're just not going to do it that way today in America. But how would this work for a man and his family? I can understand a man just saying, well, I'm just going to sleep on a park bench. I'll just eat a sandwich now and then, grab a quick bite. I'm busy for the Lord. But a whole family. That's a little tougher, especially if they're young kids. And you got a wife, think of your family, or just families. I mean, your family's a classic one, young kids.
That's what we're doing, though, too. I mean, I don't have a job.
Well, that's true.
I have no income.
Right. It can be hard. It's harder with all that, but God can still take care of it. But what I see in Scripture is a man, or men, too, going on the tougher part of it all and doing the work. And then as it gets stabilized, maybe, and you're going to pastor in a place for a long time and the family's there with you. Probably most men aren't willing to do that type of thing where they're away from their family for 6 months, maybe a year. Don't join the Navy then.
Yeah.
You could be away for a year and a half. Now the 4-year term, okay, where'd that come from? The typical furlough plan of independent Baptists, and probably most other types, is 1 year every 4 years of service. Probably I should say up to 1 year. That's fine. Not everyone gets a year for 4. The 4 years of service is typically referred to as a term. Well, this is non-scriptural. You don't find that in the Bible anywhere. Terms don't line up well with the Bible, and that Bible missionaries did not have a set or standard time on the field prior to returning to their sending church. They just did the work, however long that took. So this sounds like a term that The term is a term that a large organization would use, like boards. But every 4 years, I think it's reasonable to come back and visit. I don't think there's a big problem with that. Every year, I think, would be too soon. Do you think that? For those that are understanding my words?
4 is too soon.
4 is too soon? Okay. You're in China. Been there 4 years, haven't seen... Of course, you got your family with you, but you haven't seen mom, dad, grandparents, or anybody else in 4 years? Okay. But I don't have a concern with 4, even 2, but 1 year might be too soon. 8 years is probably too long. You know, Grandma was wanting to see little Rebecca. Now she's almost ready to drive. If missionaries return on furlough once every 4 years, it means that in any given year, someone said here, any given year, 25% of the total missionary forces is at home on furlough.
Wow.
You know, just look at the law of averages, that's how it would be. I did this a while back. I counted BIMIs, missionaries, and they currently, at that time when I looked at it, had 92 out of 510 of their missionaries on furlough. And that's not quite 25%, but that's like 20%, I think.
That's too
20%.
much.
But still, that's kind of in that ballpark. Pastor Marty Wynn of White House Baptist stated the following. This is their policy. It almost sounds like me writing this thing. See if you agree with any of this. To ensure proper stewardship of mission funds entrusted by God, we do hereby adopt the following guidelines for supporting a missionary while on furlough. Accrued furlough support. For each year that a missionary remains on the field, he or she will earn 3 months furlough support. It's known as the 12-3 guideline. This means that if the missionary is on the field for a full 4-year term before coming back, then 1 year of furlough support will be granted. 3 months for every 12 months. Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad, right? So you get, what, on a 4-year term, you get a year furlough. That sounds really good. I mean, who wouldn't like a job like that? If you're getting paid for it while you're back, which I think they are. Okay?
I was saying, but if you're going somewhere where everybody's dying, literally from diseases and it's poor conditions and they're dying because of malnutrition, all this, it's hard on your body. You could probably almost do better if you came back, you got healthy again, checked up, and you can go back and do more. Yeah. It just depends. I mean, it's so different. I mean,
look at, and on that line of thinking, look at tour of duties for like the Army.
Right.
In wherever. Afghanistan.
The stress.
This is stress. They don't have them there for more than a year, year and a half.
Right.
I don't think they go 2 years, so a year and a half maybe.
On combat.
Yeah, so it matters the stress, because what happens if you're in North Korea, undercover, or China, and it's just really stressful and dangerous. North Korea would be. Maybe 4 years you'd be insane, potentially. Here's another point here, withheld support. If a missionary returns from the field prior to a full term fulfillment, support will be based on the 12-3 principle. If the missionary returns to the States after serving 1 year, then 3 months support will be granted. Further support will cease until the missionary returns to the field, even if he's there longer. So, okay. He at least spells it out, because he's probably had some that all of a sudden came back to the States, maybe had some difficulties, wanted to raise some more support, got involved with some little ministry for a little bit, maybe had some medical problems, and they're there for a year or two, not back on the field. What about that? I thought we took them on for support because they were going to be a missionary in this place. And also, there's the issue of when are they going to get there? What happens if they're on deputation for 5 more years? And you support them for 5 years while they're going on deputation? That's why we have the different rule there. Interestingly, years ago, furloughs used to come every 7 years. This is from HK, who's that guy? Yeah. Herbert Kane, yeah.
That seems more reasonable.
But in this jet age, they come more often. The length of furlough often depends upon length of service, with a longer tenure allowing for longer furloughs. Anywhere from 4 months in the beginning to 12 months if high tenure for a furlough. Okay. And we talked about this already. Depending on your work duties, the roughness of it, longer furlough or more frequent furloughs for those. Yeah. What happens if you're in Switzerland? Oh, Switzerland, it's horrible here. Well, it's probably better life than in America. So you just want to, visit family, sure, but you don't need a year to recover from that.
A catastrophe like happened in the Philippines can really cause some emotional.
Oh, Brother Sparks. Yeah.
All of the people are devastated emotionally, and so you're going to be too.
Yeah. And he's back resting now.
Yeah.
From that.
So there's
the States. Yeah. That's a good point. So it's relative. So you got to be careful on these policies or saying this is the way it has to be. I think we got to weigh it out. But you need some guideline in how you do things. At least as a pastor, you should. In my opinion, there are 2 main motivators here with furloughs. This next little section down. Main reason why they take furloughs: burnout. You need to get back to the good old USA. I've been there in Italy. You just see the differences and the dumb things the other culture does. There's good things, but you just focus on those dumb things, and you can't wait to get. I remember kissing the asphalt once I got off the plane, wherever it was I landed in America. I don't remember. I think it was Dover or someplace. I kissed it. Everyone else was doing it too. It wasn't that bad in Naples, Italy. Oh no. And then support's out. So burnout and support out. Support monies might be running a little low, so they go back to the States, they visit some, but then they get on the deputation trail again and try and drum up support. Until a foreign church plant is indigenous, missionaries' long-term absence causes a setback. Yeah, I think I covered this at the end, but who fills in for them? So let's get that one. We'll deal with it at the end. There are many valid reasons for trips to the USA, including family and financial needs, health issues. What about those? Personal vacations. I don't know about this ministry opportunities to promote or teach missions. Yeah, you can do that when you're done with your assignment, maybe. These trips should be efficient, like pit stops in the race for souls. Stops need to be quite efficient indeed. Hurry up and take your break. Souls are perishing. Christians are backsliding. Go, go, go. So what's a reasonable time for a furlough? Been on the field 3, 4, 5 years. What would be, on average, reasonable in your view? You would say, this is how long I should take. That's the taxpayers' money. Taxpayers.
It depends on how long they're out.
Okay, well, let's just say 4 years. So 4 years. You're out 4 years. You're the guy. What are you going to give yourself? What do you think is okay for you to take? Been out 4 years, haven't been back yet? I'd say a month or two.
Yeah, 6 months is forever, really.
Yeah, 6 months. What do you got? How much visiting you got to do?
Yeah.
Visit everybody on the planet. So 1 or 2 months, you can do your visiting. You can rest. Maybe visit a church or two. But again, that shouldn't be the issue.
Yeah.
But it often is money's. Overseas deployed military personnel, which I was, get 1 month off per year. Well, actually, that's true for you stateside folks, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1 month off in a year. Yeah, that would equal 4 months in 4 years. Why should a foreign-based missionary get more than the lost folk in our well-structured military? They get 4 months in 4 years. Why do most of the missionaries get 1 year? 12 months in 4 years. Well, good question. And you can change that. Maybe at the 2 year mark, take a shorter one. 4 to 6. What did I say there? I lost my place. We do not at least 2 year mark. Maybe like 40 years, under 40 years. Well, whatever. Next one. God set in order a day of rest. Here's an interesting thought. 1 out of 7.
Yeah.
Maybe choose Monday or Saturday. Every week, take a day off. You need this rest. There you go. God built it in. Or have a yearly Sabbath. So you divide 52 weeks by 7, and you get about 7. So take 7 weeks off per year. A little less than 2 months. It seems a little better in line with God's view of things.
Or even just a year for 7 years.
Okay, or a year for 7 years, yeah.
Would be more.
It might work better if you completed the job.
Yeah.
So my concern is, we'll get to this at the very end, is what happens to those folks you've been ministering to, that beginning church or whatever, and you're gone for even a week or two. But picture 6 months or a year.
Well, hopefully by the time you've trained up some people that are just about ready to take over.
Well, that'd be a good time for OJT, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a huge issue. Some mission groups arrange for their workers to have mini furloughs, 2 to 3 months every 2 years. That's neat. Sudan Interior Missions uses charter flights every June and September to transport the missionaries back and forth. This enables them to return home every 2 years for a short time rather than every 4 years for a longer one. When to take one? Let's see what I want to say here. So who gets to decide when you take them? Oftentimes it's the board telling you that this is the policy. The board, the morgue. Next one. Be sure that you do not plan your work on the field. Oh yeah, this is a good one. Be sure that you do not plan your work on the field around your furlough. Rather, plan your furlough around your work.
Yeah.
So don't schedule a furlough 2 years out. I'll take a furlough in September of 2016. We don't know how the work's going to be going then. They may desperately need you right then. Yeah. Paul Chalp said, many church plans have been aborted because a missionary pastor left too early. A good time for a furlough would be, here it is, once you have turned over a church plant to a national pastor. That is classic. Do it then. That'll motivate you to get that done too. This way there's no disruption of the work, however long it may take. It'd be wiser to have a fellow missionary come and oversee the work while you're gone. Well, yeah, so if you had to leave, have a fellow missionary take over. Yeah, that's what they usually do. Problem one is finding one that's available. Okay, you had something?
I was going to say, Brother Long takes shorter ones, but he's coming immediately here to take over with no furlough. That's
true.
But it's,
I'm sure they'll give him a vacation that first 3 months here. Take it easy on him.
Yeah.
I beseech you, brethren, you know the house of Stephanus, that it is the first fruits of Achaia, that they have addicted themselves to the ministry of the saints. Hey, why not be like the Stephens? Be addicted to the ministry of the saints in that city where God has called you. So addicted and committed that America, well, whatever. I love these people. I don't want to ever leave them even for a month. So he talks about here about reporting via satellite feeds or Skyping and those things. You can do all that. Next one. A missionary on furlough is much more a blessing to those churches he speaks than when he was on. So this is the thought process here. When they come back on furlough, they can be a great help in churches to drum up future missionaries. Because they've been on the field, they have the experience. So I agree, but the timing would be the key thing, is when they completed their task and assignment, have them come back. Because that's not a reason to pull them. Oh, they're going to be a help to drum up missionaries. I don't agree with that. So look at this one. The purpose of a furlough is not simply to give him a break from the hard life on the field, but to prepare him for another term of service there. Isn't that what we just need, some refreshing? And you can go back. Just how long does it take for one to get another wind back and ready to go back? A year?
Depends on what. Again, if it's really hard, I mean, you're dealing with people dying, getting persecuted, and
I don't care what you've been through. A year? Even if it's 20 years or something. A year? Do you need a year? I can understand resting for a couple of weeks, medical checkups and those type of things, visiting. Let's just make it 2 or 3 months. But a year?
Right.
A year, you're going to, you just reset your patterns. You're out of the habit.
Yeah, that's
it's not your lifestyle anymore.
Yeah, then you go back to this like you just started there again. Yeah. It is proper to write every supporting Casper, when there will be a lengthy time spent in the States. So what would you say if you found out that the missionary we support over in, say, Tanzania has been in the States for 9 months and we didn't know that? Does that bother you?
Yeah. No, he's good.
He's on furlough. I mean, every time they're in the States, it's furlough. So, yeah, that would be a concern. Now, what about if they only spent 1 month?
That's fine.
Yeah, all right. But I still, please let us know.
Yes.
And then you've got all this, okay, I'm running out of time here, but people dismiss Walmart, Home Depot, I don't know if they do, supermarkets, just America. And then they talk about this, I should read it, because it helps the other side of the argument. Who but the missionary on furlough can appreciate the privilege of eating fresh vegetables and drinking unboiled water? Of visiting McDonald's or Pizza Hut or Baskin Robbins, having paved roads, even in the rural areas, without goats, cows, or camels to compete with.
That's right.
Traveling to superhighways with their well-stocked restaurants and clean gas stations every 20 miles or so. Costco, Walmart, Home Depot, malls. Oh, it is the best thing this side of heaven. And what a relief not to have the flies, the fleas, the bedbugs, cockroaches, spiders, snakes, scorpions, wild boars, leopards, lions, and pythons to worry about.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's true. All right, because for the work of Christ, he was nigh unto death, not regarding his life, to supply your lack of service toward me. I understand. Again, without the kids and the wife with you, the man is a real man, can be committed to the work of God, and not even worry about his own body, just do the work to the max. We should be able to do that, though I know it's hard. But with the family, it's a different story. Last point here, and we'll take a break. A long one. So here's some problems with furloughs. So you leave whatever you got going there. Let's say you were there 4 years and you've got 20, 30 people. No one's really trained to take over, but there's somebody who can teach Sunday school. Who pastors in your place? Who watches that thing for the 6 to 12 months while you're gone? I don't know. So you got to figure that out. You're pulling someone from somewhere else to do this, but maybe that's a good thing for them to have the training. Will they pastor as you pastor?
Depends.
They may, but probably not. They're going to be different, but hopefully they follow the policies you've set up, don't change things. But I've heard of them changing it and taking over the church. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Or the national, or even another missionary coming on in. There's power mongers out there. And so when you come back, how much change will there be? How many people will leave the church because you have gone? Because a lot of them are there because of you. will there be a power struggle when you come back to take the reins? Maybe one of the men in the church kind of got some control of things and doesn't want to let it go. The nationals may view you as kind of a come and go type of missionary, not dependable. Whenever times get tough or you just need to get a break from things. They're okay with the area. They've lived there all their life. What's the problem? You don't like it here? It costs a lot of money. Why not use that money on the ministry? And what do you do with all your stuff there? I guess you've got, the rental you have. I guess you're just in the rental. What about all your household goods? You store it somewhere? And lastly, look at this one. Will the stay in America weaken your commitment to that country as you fall back in love with America? Actually, some people have just the opposite. The next one talks about the letdown when you go back to America. And the spiritual level and just the comfortableness and everything you want. Hedonism is there. And they get spiritually let down. They need to get back in the country where they get spiritually pumped up again. Kenneth Mansell, veteran missionary, says that in many countries the number of missionaries returning for a second term, so another 4 years, is as low as 10%.
Whoa.
That means they go back, they do their 4 years, and then they go back. So how many of these missionary families plan to stay only one term? Well, none of them. On deputation, did they tell the churches that we're only going to be there 24 to 36 months, 48 months max, and we're going to quit? They don't say that. Something went wrong. Closing. Roman Catholic missionaries seldom come home on furlough. Are Baptists weaker than Roman Catholics? Mm-hmm. No great missionary ever accomplished a great work without determining to set down roots in his foreign field. Many of our predecessors took their caskets with them as they left America. Bury my heart on the mission field, Lord.